Don't worry about it. We'll do it in post. It's 1984. What's post? Hi, this is Randall here with No Market Media.
And I'm Matt. Today, Randall and I are continuing our Guilty Pleasure movie series. Today, we're taking a look back at a movie from 1984. It is The Caravan of Courage and Ewok Adventure. It stars Eric Walker, Aubrey Miller, Warwick Davis, and Burl Ives. It's directed by the late John Korty, who's known for several other made-for-TV movies, including the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman and Farewell to Manzanar.
After crash landing on the enchanted Forest Moon of Endor, a pair of children set out with a band of Ewoks to save their parents from an unknown monster. This made-for-TV movie had about a $3 million budget and received pretty terrible reviews from critics at the time and only slightly below average reviews from audiences. But it did win a jury-awarded Emmy for Outstanding Special Visual Effects.
Okay, so this movie is one of my guilty pleasure movies, and I would say...
No.
Well, you guys can probably guess a big part of why. Big part of it is it's an Ewok movie, so it has some kind of connection to Star Wars, and it was one of those things that I watched as a kid for that very reason. Now, watching it now, it does seem a bit long in parts and stuff for that, but yeah, I still enjoyed this movie mostly for like the Ewok parts.
Full disclosure, I had never seen this before. So for me, this is not only like just kind of a guilty pleasure of Matt's, but I just don't know anything about it really, other than passing, like, of its existence. And I found it so weird. It's got this like really weird documentary narration style going on.
Wicket the youngest is told he must stay behind.
Like, what is that? This feels like a 1950s or 60s Disney-ish like thing, like Milo and Otis almost.
Yep.
It was kind of weirded out by that a little bit. In all honesty, I'm really confused where all of the magic came from. They go out of their way to be like,
Deep in an enchanted forest on the distant moon of Endor.
this planet's enchanted. Endor's enchanted. I'm like, when did that happen?
Mm-hmm.
And then they use magic, and I'm like, there's a difference between using the Force and straight up kooky Took's magic, you know. But it was an interesting watch, honestly.
Yep. Yeah, I'm glad you said that about like the magic stuff. It doesn't say like, oh, we're just using the Force in new ways. No, we're straight up using magical items.
They use the word magic.
Wicket receives a magic walking stick.
I mean, the intended audience is kids. They want to make it.
Yep.
But I mean, there's an established space wizard order that uses magical looking things. So why not just go with the Force?
Well, George Lucas had different ideas for this one.
The story, it's weird. It doesn't really kick off until like 40-ish minutes into the movie, and then you actually get the band together, the Fellowship of the... Wait, no. Wrong movie. The Caravan of Courage finally gets together with the Ewoks and the kids, and I was just surprised by, like, the whole point of this. The story is, go save your parents from monster. That's the story.
Yep.
But there's so much in this movie that has nothing to do with that. It can sparsely even be called character building. There's just scenes. Things that just happen.
Yep.
Didn't really think that was going to be I figured there'd be a overriding story, but apparently not.
Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to comment too, is like the build-up that we have before we go on our little journey. I guess if there's any character building, maybe it's for Mace, I guess. So Mace is like the older brother. And I guess it's like, all right, well, how does Mace respond to different situations? And what does Mace think about the Ewoks?
Stay here with these walking hairbrushes. Come on, Cinto, they're animals.
Exactly. So I think that's what a lot of our setup kind of was too. But yeah, it's kind of like, we get a lot of story like, oh, how did we get into this situation? And oh, we don't know about these creatures, but they're just not smart creatures, or at least that's how Mace sees them.
So let's run away from them.
Let's run away from
Even
them.
though they've saved us twice.
Yeah, and given us medicine.
Just
welcomed us into their homes.
didn't murder us. Didn't try to cook us.
See, that was funny too, because when they were bringing Mace in on like the stretcher kind of thing or whatever, I'm thinking like, oh man, we're not gonna cook them, are we?
Nope, that's for the adult version of this film.
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi. But you know what? The thing about the story and why it takes so long and there's just so little there, as we were kind of reading into it a little bit, and you were saying like, hey, no studio picked this movie up.
Yeah.
Except for ABC said we'll put it on TV if it's at least 2 hours. Fill a 2-hour time slot.
Yep.
I'm like, well, yeah, it was supposed to be 30 minutes. So basically, George Lucas had to do something. He's like, all right, more magic scenes. Just fill it with complete fluff. Because as like a 30-minute thing, this is a story for a 30-minute show.
Yep.
Not a 2-hour movie.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it really is expanded. And I would say, like, once we actually get on our quest, the story really becomes, all right, here's a challenge, and one of our characters has the special magical item or the personal ability to be able to overcome this challenge. I mean, that's really what the story is after we get everybody together. It's like, all right, next challenge. Next challenge.
So it's Mass Effect 2.
It's Mass Effect 2.
Gotta get the band together. Each person can do a thing at the end mission.
Alright, as far as characters goes, I think the only real character development or anything we have is probably with Mace. Like I was talking on how our setup is kind of like, alright, establish how Mace, meets challenges and how Mace thinks about the Ewoks. And then at the end of the movie, we see how that's changed. How, Mace is a bit more confident or whatever, more becoming, I wouldn't say adult, but older teen, I guess, too. And has a different look on the Ewoks and stuff, too.
His
experiences, too. Sindel, I don't know if she has, much there. I mean, and the Ewoks too, there's actually only 2 Ewoks that really stick out to me for individual personality. One is Wicket, and the other one I think is the axe throwing guy. Other than that, the other Ewoks just kind of blend together a little bit for me.
For a series, Star Wars, that's so built on characters. You have iconic characters, you have all of these well-known things going on. This doesn't have very much going on in character department at all. Nope. Honestly, it's like, yep, there are characters in this movie. That's it. The parents they're AWOL most of the movie, being held captive. You don't even see them beginning and the end, and the Ewoks, there's just not enough emoting to really get that much.
Yep.
And the actors for this, the kid actors for this, weren't really giving enough to fill out a 2-hour thing. It's just they're just having fun, almost stage play, Star Wars stuff. Go in your backyard, play Star Wars. So, and again, going back to how this even got made, makes perfect sense. Just George Lucas's daughter liked Ewoks.
Yeah.
And it's all right, let's make a movie with Ewoks.
Yep. It's funny too, because you mentioned the kids. It's all right, in this scene you're sad. All right, in this scene you're sick. All right, in this scene you're yelling. Where is that thing? What is that thing?
They're eating her, and then they're going to eat me. Oh my God!
Don't worry about it. We'll do it in post. It's 1984. What's post? This is a made-for-TV movie. That's the genre. I wouldn't even say it's Star Wars. I wouldn't even say it's science fiction broadly. It's just a made-for-TV movie.
Mhm.
And as I mentioned kind of in the characters thing, it plays out almost just like George Lucas has cachet. He's able to make a movie regardless.
Mhm.
And so he did. It doesn't matter what it is. Just having fun with it.
It is as a made-for-TV movie, it's not bad for a made-for-TV movie, I guess, from '84.
What part of it? Oh, right. The Emmy-winning effects. But not the spider.
not the spider. Me, I would say if there's any other genre, maybe it's adventure. I mean, they're going out on kind of like a quest,
What
and
is your quest?
they're experiencing new things together and stuff, and I don't know. I guess they're exploring a little bit. I'll go with adventure. That's what I'll go for. But yeah,
I guess there's some adventure. I guess you know what? Almost Legend of Zelda, but instead of one person Link, it's just like it's a group of people solving riddles and puzzles and getting in trouble.
All right, what didn't I see coming? Randall already hinted at earlier. How much the story or whatever this movie is taken directly from the Fellowship of the Ring?
It's almost plucked straight from it.
It is. But I think it's funny because I made some connections too. Because this is a movie that I watched a lot as a kid. And when I saw the Fellowship of the Ring for the first time, I was thinking a little bit like, hey, something similar happened in like the Ewok Adventure. But it wasn't until, we watched this movie again that it came full circle like, oh my goodness, just how much of it is taken directly from Lord of the Rings.
I mean, the whole thing in the water, falling in and not being able to get out
Yep.
is... I mean, the books came first, people. George Lucas can't say that this was his idea. So, yeah, it's a little iffy there on some of these things.
Yep. But yeah, I was surprised just exactly like how close they were. Like, straight up.
They even got gifts from Galadriel. Galadriel's a lot more furry in this version of the movie, but, I didn't see it coming is all of it. And when I say all of it, what I mean really is, okay, it's 1984. I get George Lucas was just making a goofy made-for-TV movie that was stretched to 2 hours and was supposed to be 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I totally get that. But I'm sitting there thinking to myself, man, he has zero respect. And I've complained about this at length in our prequel reviews, so you can go watch those if you want. Zero respect for his own canon. He just doesn't care. I'm like, when did the forest moon of Endor become a rocky, deserty terrain? Not that planets can't have, actual changes in their different things, but I mean, that's not what Star Wars is known for.
Mm-hmm.
They're known for an entire planet that's made of a city, an entire planet that's made of a desert, an entire moon that's made out of forest. Like, that's the thing. But man, he just had like no respect for his canon at all.
He just wants to tell new stories like, I don't care what other stories I told before. Like, this is my new story.
So yeah, all of it. Then all of it was completely crazy. So at the end of the day, the thing is, I can totally see this just being a guilty pleasure for anyone whose nostalgia for it is high and you just enjoyed it as a youngling. That makes sense. This is not a good movie at all. At all. It's more of a movie you could just laugh at it. Just like, oh my god, that's ridiculous. Ha ha, George Lucas didn't even respect his canon back then. Ha ha. Wow, that doesn't make any sense. Why aren't they using the... who cares?
Mm-hmm.
I can totally see why it's a guilty pleasure film.
100%. I mean, it is why it's my guilty pleasure film. I mean, it's Ewoks after a time after Return of the Jedi. And as a kid, Return of the Jedi was the Star Wars movie that I watched the most. Part of it was because of the Ewoks. So to be able to have something too that contained the Ewoks and live action or whatever, that was something I was up for a kid. And I would say even as an adult, my favorite scenes are probably, the Ewoks just goofing around, messing around kind of stuff, not serious. I don't get invested in what's going on in this movie anymore because I know everything that's going to happen in it. So it's not like, oh no, is he going to get captured or something or what? None of that stuff, really goes. But no, it's because of that. It's because it has that little Ewok connection, even though even me trying to think like, well, how would this fit with Star Wars? I don't think it does.
It really doesn't. It really doesn't. But, you can still enjoy it, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But if you enjoyed it or you have really nostalgic feelings for it, let us know down in the comments below. That's the place to let us know what you guys might think of your guilty films are. And maybe one day we'll do a video on them.
Mm-hmm.
We also have other guilty pleasure film reviews, so make sure to go check those out. Some new movie reviews, other flashback movie reviews, TV series reviews, and some deeper dive discussions.
We also have a Facebook page. Be sure to check us out there. We post a day before our reviews come out to let you know what the topic of that review is going to be. We also post some other things about our fandoms. If you don't have Facebook, don't worry about it. Just go to our YouTube page. Our videos come out regularly. For now, I'm Matt with No Market Media. Have a good day, everyone.
And I'm Randall. See everyone next time.
Next time on No Market Media. Please consider checking out some of our other videos.